Good morning, race fans. Welcome to the NASCAR Report. I'm your host, Tyler White. Thanks for joining us today as we get you ready for the race weekend. But first, let's start you off with a look at today's top story. Tony Stewart has returned to the track this week, and he will race tomorrow night at Atlanta. NASCAR has also granted him a waiver, which means he's eligible for the chase, but he must win either this week's race or next week's race at Richmond. Tony Stewart was sidelined for 3 weeks based on his decision after that unthinkable tragedy at the Canandaigua Motorsports Park. Tony Stewart said in an emotional press conference yesterday that his prayers are with the Ward family and he's always thinking about them every day. But he asks that the media would respect him and the ongoing investigation by not asking any questions about it. Now, let me just say, I'm glad to see Tony Stewart back at the track. You know, we've heard this several times before. The best thing that comforts a driver is when they're back inside the race car, and that's true. We've seen, every time in NASCAR, after we see tragedy, we normally see triumph immediately after that. We saw it 4 times in 2001. After Dale Earnhardt Sr. died, we go to Rockingham next week. Steve Park, driving a car that was owned and operated by Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, that #1 Shell Pennzoil Chevrolet, went to Victory Lane that day and drove backwards with a Dale Earnhardt hat and wore in Victory Lane. Then a few weeks later at Atlanta, Kevin Harvick, the guy that Richard Childress picked to fill Earnhardt's shoes, edged Jeff Gordon by this much to win the race, and it was one of the most emotional and heartfelt wins as Kevin Harvick drove backwards with 3 fingers in the air. That was a very emotional day. And I think one of the most emotional ones after that was the Pepsi 400 2001 at Daytona. Dale Earnhardt Jr. going to Victory Lane. Him and Mike Waltrip after the race finally getting a chance to celebrate after what happened in February. They were hugging each other. That was a very emotional night. And then 2004 Atlanta, after the Martinsville plane crash with Hendrick Motorsports, Jimmy Johnson passing Mark Martin with 6 laps to go and was able to pick up the win. That was an emotional day. And after the race, all the Hendrick Motorsports drivers went to Victory Lane and the pit crews and turned their hats backwards in honor of Ricky Hendrick, who was Rick Hendrick's son that was killed in the plane crash. So even if Tony Stewart doesn't make the chase this year, I believe he will at least finish the season with a win. That's my bold prediction, and I also think he'll be a serious threat for the championship next year. That's my bold prediction. Alright, let's get you ready for the race weekend, everybody. It kicks off tonight with the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the Great Clips 300 on ESPN2. Coverage begins with NASCAR Countdown at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Mountain Time, and 4 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, for the past 11 races for the Nationwide Series at Atlanta, only one Nationwide regular has won, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 2012. The rest of them have been Cup regulars. So, I believe a Cup regular will win this race tonight. That's my bold prediction. And we've got doubleheader Sunday for you tomorrow. The Chevy Silverado 250 tomorrow afternoon on Fox Sports 1 for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Coverage begins with the setup at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, noon Central Time, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, and 10 a.m. Pacific Time. Last year, we saw Chase Elliott pick up his first victory in NASCAR at this track. I believe we will see another first-time winner in the Truck Series tomorrow afternoon. That's my bold prediction, and it's a road course, so I believe the points will shake up, and we will have a new points leader after Sunday for the Truck Series. That's my bold prediction. And tomorrow night, it's the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series turn to take on NASCAR's fastest mile and a half, the Oral-Beat USA 500 on ESPN. Coverage begins with NASCAR Countdown at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Mountain Time, and 4 p.m. Pacific Time. And we've got actor Will Chase from the ABC hit drama Nashville, who will perform the national anthem before the race. Expect Dale Earnhardt Jr. to have a good run. He won here back in 2004. Expect Kevin Harvick to have a good run. He got his first career victory in 2001, as we mentioned earlier in the show. Expect Carl Edwards to have a good run. He's a 3-time winner at Atlanta and also picked up his first career victory back in 2005 here. Expect Kyle Busch to have a good run. He's a 2-time winner at this racetrack. Also won this race last year. Expect Kurt Busch to have a good run. He's a 3-time winner at Atlanta. Expect Denny Hamlin to have a good run. He won this race back in 2012. Expect Jeff Gordon to have a good run. He's a 5-time winner at Atlanta. Expect Jimmy Johnson to have a good run. He's a 3-time winner at Atlanta. And expect Tony Stewart to have a good run. He also is a 3-time winner at Atlanta. And now let's take a look at our most memorable moment. One of the greatest races in NASCAR history, or as most historians call it, the greatest race in NASCAR history. 1992. We have a 3-way battle for the championship between Alan Kulwicki, Davey Allison, and Bill Elliott. For Richard Petty, it was his last race after an historic 34 years in NASCAR. And it was also a first race for an up-and-coming young gun who would soon change NASCAR forever and become one of our sport's greatest drivers. His name was Jeff Gordon. Davey Allison, who was the heavily favored to win the race, or to win the championship, I should say, he gets taken out early of a crash, but has one of the best losing attitudes in all of sport, had a big smile on his face, and I think he was well known for, at least for just being happy how the season went through. And that's what I respect about Davey Allison. Richard Petty gets taken out early because of a fire crash, but they get the car back to repair him for him to finish the race and salute the crowd as soon as the race is over. Bill Elliott won the race. However, it was not good enough as Alan Kulwicki, the Underbird as it was written on his car, picked up the 1992 championship in one of the biggest upsets in NASCAR history. Because Alan Kulwicki, he was just a northern guy from Wisconsin. He's an underdog. The way his season went in the first and second half was not good, and people believe that he didn't even have a prayer to win the championship. He was also an owner-driver, single-car team out of Charlotte. No one predicted him to win the championship, but he did. For Richard Petty, it was for him to end his career at Atlanta. Many fans will basically remember him ending his career when Jeff Gordon began his career. At the time, many people didn't think Jeff Gordon was going to be a superstar because they're like, oh, he's too young. He looks like a college kid. But here we are, 22 years later. He has 91 career victories and 4 championships. So no one knew at the time how special Jeff Gordon was going to be. Alright, let's get you ready for the race weekend. Weather-wise, since the Truck Series is at a different track this week than the NASCAR Nationwide NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, we'll start with them first, courtesy of CBC in Canada. And for that truck race tomorrow at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, 20% chance of rain, a high of 75. So a slight chance of rain tomorrow, but I'm not going to be too concerned about it whatsoever. And now the Atlanta forecast, courtesy of Fox 5 in Atlanta. Beginning tonight with a nationwide race, 40% chance of rain, a low of 70, and the same thing for tomorrow night for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. So those are also slight chances of rain, so I wouldn't be too concerned about it. They're just slight chances. I think we're going to see a beautiful night of racing. So if you're going to Canada or Atlanta this weekend for the races, we hope you have a great time and you'll want to come back for more. As we all know, next year Atlanta will be moved to the second race of the season, and I think we're going to see a lot of action there for the second race of the season. Alright, that's our show today. Thank you for joining us. I'm Tyler White. We'll be back here Tuesday to recap the race. We'll look at the point standings, show you what you can expect. Plus, if there are any new developments going on in the world of NASCAR, we'll be right here to let you know about them. Until then, this is Tyler White reminding you, for you to do unto others, you would have them do unto you. We'll see you next time on the NASCAR Report, everybody. Have a great day.